Lucas always believed that the day he paid off his car would be the moment his life would finally change, as if all the effort, all the payments, and all the discipline built over the years would finally turn into freedom. But there is one detail no one ever tells you, and that is exactly what caught him off guard, because while he thought he was reaching the top, he was actually just closing a chapter that didn't lead where he imagined, and this realization completely changes the way anyone sees money. When the final payment was made, the feeling was immediate, a strong sense of relief, almost like taking a weight off his shoulders after years of carrying that responsibility. Lucas looked at the car and felt proud, felt like he finally owned something, like he could finally breathe, that the money that used to disappear every month would now stay with him. But that feeling started to fade much faster than he expected, because reality showed up quietly. A few days later, Lucas noticed something strange. His life hadn't changed, his bank account looked almost the same, his routine was exactly the same, and that idea of freedom he had built in his mind simply wasn't happening. And that's when a question started to form: did paying off the car really mean financial progress? Or was it just the end of an obligation that never generated any return? That's when Lucas began to understand a difference that almost no one notices. Paying something off is not the same as building wealth. For years he believed he was progressing, but in reality he was just trading time and money for something that didn't grow, something that didn't give anything back. And the most interesting part is that this illusion is constantly reinforced, as if paying things off was the final goal, when in reality it creates no real financial advantage. Without the car payment, Lucas believed he would finally have money left over, that he could start saving, investing, or simply have more peace of mind. But what happened was completely different. Little by little he started spending more, small things began to fill the space that the car payment used to occupy, and before he realized it, the money was still disappearing the same way, but now without any clear reason, and that revealed an even bigger problem. That was the moment Lucas realized that the problem was never the car payment, but the way he handled money, because without a clear direction, any amount that comes in simply disappears, and that has nothing to do with how much you earn, but everything to do with your financial behavior. And this is one of the biggest traps that exist, because it is invisible and happens without people even noticing. With that, Lucas began to question everything he believed about money. He started observing people who actually had results, and noticed a completely different pattern. They weren't focused on just paying bills or getting rid of things, they were focused on building sources that generated more money. And that shift in perspective was the turning point he needed to break out of the same cycle. So Lucas made a simple decision, but one that completely changed his path. He started taking the same amount of money he used to pay for the car and directing it into something that could grow over time. At first it seemed small, almost insignificant, but for the first time the money wasn't just disappearing, it was being directed with intention. As the months passed, something started to change, still slowly, still without big explosions, but with consistency. The money began to generate results, and that feeling was completely different from anything he had experienced before, because now it wasn't just effort, it was real progress happening right in front of him. When Lucas looked back, he realized something that could have been frustrating. If he had started earlier, he would be much further ahead, but instead of getting stuck on that, he used that realization as fuel, because he understood that there was still time, and that the biggest change wasn't in the past, but in the decisions he was starting to make now. And this is where the point that almost no one sees comes in. Paying off the car was not the mistake was believing that it was the final goal, because financial freedom does not begin when you finish paying something off, it begins when you learn how to make money work for you, and that difference is what separates those who stay stuck from those who start building something real. Now think about this carefully. How many decisions have you made believing you were moving forward, when in reality you were just maintaining the same pattern? How many times have you thought you needed to earn more, when the real problem was how you were using what you already had? And if you keep going exactly the way you are today, where will that take you in the next few years? In the next video, you will understand exactly what Lucas started doing with his money after this turning point, and how small changes created real results over time. So if you don't want to stay stuck in this cycle without even realizing it, subscribe now and keep following, because what comes next can completely change the way you see money from here on.